Hey friends, I'm Otis Gibbs, and this is Jimbo Mathus. He's going to talk about recording Sweet Tea with the great Buddy Guy.
A producer named Dennis Herring was going to a set to produce Buddy Guy's what became known as Sweet Tea. He had a concept for the sound he wanted. He knew the sound he wanted. He didn't know who to get the sound. And so like producers do, they call other producers and engineers they know that work in places that they think their people may be lurking. He called an engineer from New Orleans, said, here's the project. It's Buddy Guy doing hill country, basically Junior Kimbrough mixed with T-Model Ford beats, and combining that into this real raw sound. It's going to be push Buddy's boundaries a long way. So we need some strong men to handle this project and also to play the parts. The engineer goes, well, you may not believe this, but I believe your man is from this group, Squirrel Nut Zippers, Jimbo. Because Ethan, the engineer, had heard me. He knew I did stuff with T-Model and those guys just through me talking to him. He had heard me playing blues on different sessions and stuff, and I guess knew my aesthetic. He said, he's known for this vaudeville act, but he's probably your guy. And that's how I got hired. Dennis Herring called me. I said, I'm your guy. You know, I know Spam, the drummer. He said, I want Spam to be the drums. Spam is the template for the drums on Sweet Tea. I said, man, I already know Spam, really well. Been on the road with him a bunch, I can help handle Spam because his mental faculties were very strange. He had learning disabilities as well as dyslexia and all this other stuff. And he was like 7 feet tall. Black dude, grew up in real hard in Indianola. I think his sister had cut part of his finger off with a box cutter. I mean, it was real Delta poverty background. So I said, I can take care of Spam. We're tight already. And that's how it happened, Then we convened at Sweet Tea right here in Oxford. We rehearsed a couple of weeks before Buddy even got there. And then we put Buddy through a real routine. I mean, that's a whole other story. I don't know how in depth you want me to get about the process itself. I mean, I can encapsulate, say we really pushed his boundaries. We did what the producer wanted, which is to really make him fight for his life on tape. So he's not coming in and overdubbing on these nice tracks that are already down there. No, he's fighting for his life. Well, he'd come in at noon and we'd already be rehearsing. I got along real well with him. I grew up under older musicians, great musicians, being the mentor, them being the teacher. That's been my life, man, since I was 6 years old. I've always got people 10 years older than me that I'm learning from, even currently, just by fate. Or by design, some, I don't know how you say it. So I was able to, and plus I've been around a lot of blues guys, real deal blues guys like he has. So I could talk the talk and keep, so I was good cop, bad cop with the producer. I was good cop, he was bad cop. This is all by design. And I'm like, yeah, fuck that motherfucker, man. I'm getting out of here too, buddy, So I'm commiserating with Buddy, and so we kept him there 10 days, working him really hard, long, grueling takes, He ended up doing, it was all for him to perform Sweet Tea, which to me is, you've got him doing 8, 9, 10 minutes, just jamming guitar solos at the top of his game. It's brilliant. So it surpasses anything he's ever done, recorded with his playing, singing, screaming for his life, pretty powerful stuff.
Was he happy with it?
He hated it. He hated it. It just wasn't his thing, He liked Chicago blues, show blues, get quiet, get loud, certain songs, talk about, do his bits. He's got his thing. But the whole point of Sweet Tea was to have him do something totally different. He didn't like it at all. His band could never perform the grooves and the songs. The rhythm guitar part is in itself is, I was like the band leader, I was hired to be the band supervisor with the bass and drums. And so the groove is very particular. Sounds easy, but it's not. I would advise everybody to go listen to Sweet Tea and just check out the way the whole thing is done. After that, though, I kept a relationship with Buddy. Well, the next year I did Blues Singer, which was in the same concept, but acoustic, with Keltner and Tony Garnier on upright, and me on archtop, blues, acoustic blues. So it was like hearkening back to his day doing the Muddy Waters acoustic record when Buddy was just a teenager, folk singer. So this was Blues Singer, same concept. Buddy's the old guy, got a killer band, and just do old, janky blues, like country blues. We won a Grammy for that. I toured with his band on Blues Singer. So me and the Mole Taylor, the bassist, fabulous drummer, Steve Ennis on drums. Just a stripped down tour just like that. That lasted about a year or so. We did a bunch of TV shows. Then he started hiring me because the fans kind of wanted to hear some Sweet Tea stuff, but he couldn't really do it. So he hired my band to open up for him. And that was my whole groove at that time, was all that hill country shit that I turned over to him. We opened for him on the road for a couple of 2 or 3 years, all over the place. He was just a very quiet guy, he really didn't talk a lot, except I think he would confide in, like, you could hear him talking on the phone, like, to family and stuff. Like, he seemed to be very private. When he told stories, he just kind of goes into his routine. Like, I never heard him, I hung around with him, he's going to tell the same story pretty quickly. So it's almost like he's just trying to tell you something to answer your question and get you, and he's super kind. He's almost like a great chief or something, very peaceful, doesn't talk a lot. It's almost like he's just conserving his energy for when he gets up there with the guitar, so he would just, I bet I never said, had few conversations with him. Not, good morning, how you doing, Mr. Guy? Just kind of business and cordial, and never had any real heart-to-hearts with him. And like I say, he's just very personal and almost shy. He did tell me that and I have heard him tell this story before, but not very much. He was almost like, went into like a sleepwalking state or something when he was a small child, and like an uncle or cousin had a guitar, and he had kind of messed with it a little bit, and like he's almost like he woke up, he like in a sleepwalking state with the guitar, like on one of the levees down. He's from Ruston, Louisiana, so it's a lot of low country and then levee action. He was walking in the moonlight, playing the John Lee Hooker boogie riff, which he really liked, and that's what he wanted to do. And he almost like woke up in this dream state, and he had figured it out. Like, I don't know if he's ever told that story before. And he said also in that when he was a small kid like that, he would have dreams where there were just thousands and thousands of people just looking at him. Like all kind of people, white people, he told me that. And I don't know if I ever heard that anywhere else.
Like a premonition of future.
Yeah, like a vision. So, music hits people like that. And when it hits you when you're about 6 years old, that's the way it did me. It hits you about then, it's something there that's dragging you down this life. When that happens to you, you're screwed. So if If your children ever have this dream, just never buy them a guitar. Save them a lot of heartache. I'm just funny. I wouldn't trade it for anything.
I always say you need to walk them to the trade show at South by Southwest.
Yeah, there you go. That'll take any love of music away from you.